Ahoy, and welcome back to the weekly Helm report, your weekly dispatch from the high seas. I'm your host, First Mate Steph, and whether you're a seasoned sailor or a first-time passenger, you've found the right port. I want to apologize for the lack of an episode last week. We came off the Disney Dream, to me just being under the weather, so this week we're going to cover the past 2 weeks of cruise news. This episode, we're charting a course through some big news with major headlines from all the biggest cruise lines. We've got itinerary shakeups, new ships on the horizon, and some big changes that could affect your next vacation. So get ready to drop anchor, and let's dive into the latest in the world of cruising. So, it wasn't a lot the past 2 weeks, which is great. I like when it's pretty light weeks because sometimes there can be some heavy news, but there was also some downsides to things, right? So like we had a light week, but there was some big news stories and some crazy news stories. I'm really excited to share them this week. So first off, Norwegian, they only had one thing go on in the past 2 weeks, and it's really, I'm going to say it's nothing crazy, but I think we're going to see it come across all cruise lines eventually. So they have implemented a new policy for specialty dining. So if you make a reservation at the specialty dining and you don't show up, or you fail to cancel at least 2 hours prior to the dining time, you will be charged $10 fee per person. So if there's 6 of you in your group and you're all over 13, you're getting charged $60. So make sure that if I get it. I've been on cruises where I'm just at the beach all day and I'm just exhausted and I can't make it to dinner or whatever. Just call and cancel your reservation. They understand, but there's a wait list and people want to eat there. And so it's a bummer for the passengers, and it's also a bummer because they lose out on money, so they don't want to do that. So I think we'll see this come across all cruise lines because it just makes sense, right? So sliding over to Carnival, they had some big news this week with their loyalty program finally, and then some other things. So we'll start with those of the smaller news, right? So Norfolk will become homeport for the Carnival Freedom. They announced that they will be homeporting in Norfolk starting in May of 2027. This move will make the city a homeport for the first time, but it's a really cool, because of where it's located, right? They're going to have a really diverse program of itineraries with the Bahamas, the Bahamas, Bermuda, Eastern Caribbean, and Canada, because it can go to all of them. So I think that's a really, really cool spot to have a ship. So that'll be there in May 2027. The Galveston deployment plan is still going as planned. So the 2027-2028 deployment, Carnival has announced that it will maintain a 4-ship Galveston plan, with the Carnival, Horizon, and Spirit joining the Breeze and Jubilee as homeported ships out of Galveston. And then the big news for Carnival is that they finally sent some updates about their rewards or loyalty program. I'm going to lightly use the word enhancements because I know a lot of people don't feel this way, but Carnival has announced enhancements to its new program, right? So all current and future Diamond members will be granted lifetime Diamond status. Platinum members will receive a boost towards their Platinum status and a head start to Diamond status. So a lot of people thought when this all came out a couple of months ago that they were just going to add another tier like MSC did. They took Diamond and became Blue Diamond. But that's not what Carnival did. They changed it around completely. People were pissed. There was a lot of outrage about it. I haven't had a chance because I've been sick this past week to actually take a look at what Carnival's doing for, what the reaction has been about it. I know that I read the email and I wasn't super impressed with what they did because they're still keeping with kind of the shoddy system that they came up with. But I think I might actually put together just a 10-minute episode, like a bonus episode, if you will, discussing the updates to the loyalty program because there is a lot in that email. It goes into the Platinum members will receive X amount of stars every year to try and maintain their Diamond status. It's a lot, right? So, but they have sent out announcements or enhancements about it. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I can send you what the information is. And then I'm going to put together a bonus episode this week to just kind of talk about it because it's, like I said, it's a lot. Moving over to Disney, the Disney Destiny has departed the shipyard. So it is starting its sea trials. This is great. We'll see that coming out soon. That's great news for Disney. Unfortunately, also the Disney Adventure Maiden voyage was delayed. I actually learned about this on the Disney cruise when we were doing a Tales from the Ship episode with Kristen from Love the Mouse Travel. So she was set to be on it. I don't remember what day she was leaving. I want to say it was like the March 5th, but she was getting off the boat on March 9th. And Disney just announced that they had to push the debut date from whenever it is to March 10th. So it is debuting out of Singapore. It is actually Disney's. I learned all of this from her. It is Disney's first ship that they bought, not built. So they're having to make a lot of refurbishments to it. But unfortunately, it is delayed. And, if you're on it, you'll just have to, book for a later date or get your money back. Royal Caribbean had a heck of a 2 weeks, honestly. So the Legend of the Seas, which is, I feel like I say this a lot, is going to become the world's largest cruise ship. It's their third Icon class, but is ahead of schedule for a inaugural voyage of July 11th, 2026 now. It'll be based in Europe before repositioning to Fort Lauderdale, but they're really cool that they were able to get it done ahead of schedule. We'll see how that goes, but it is going to take over, I believe it's bigger than the Star of the Seas. Along with that, they have announced that construction has begun on a fourth Icon class ship. So that has begun now. They have officially canceled Labadee in Haiti through April of 2026. So there's a lot of civil unrest in Haiti, and it's moving closer and closer to Labadee. And so it's putting people at risk, right? So they have canceled that. So if you have any cruise booked for the Caribbean, on Royal Caribbean, through April of 2026, expect that you're not going to Labadee, which it's a beautiful beach, but that country is in shambles. So it's the changes being made out of abundance of caution. They don't want to not go there. It's their private section. They're going to make money on it, but they have to keep people safe. And then, to me, the craziest news story that has happened in the past 2 weeks. There was a man on the Rhapsody of the Seas that was ported in San Juan, and people were departing off the ship because that's where its current home port is. And this man jumped off the boat. So the boat's not moving. So he jumped off the boat. He lived. He was rescued by 2 jet skiers and then detained by Customs and Border Patrol because he had multiple IDs on him with different names. So he was using an ID that was his brother's, who was in prison. I think he had his passport or something. I don't understand why. And $14,000 in cash. And his thing was I didn't want to pay taxes on the cash that I was bringing back into the country. But then what actually happened is he jumped overboard because he was trying to avoid his room bill. Because he had a gambling debt of nearly $17,000 while he was on the ship. That's insane to me, right? So we have done where we put cash on our room instead of a credit card. And they'll let you charge a little bit over, generally speaking. But then they're like, okay, you've charged $100 or whatever. You need to go put money on your room. I can't imagine having a gambling debt of nearly $17,000. Also, that's a lot. I gamble on boats, on the ships when we go. But holy ship, that's a lot. That's a lot to gamble and lose. I mean, really, if he just taken his $14,000, he's only down 3. But still, that's a lot. But he was rescued and detained. So I thought that was absolutely insane. They also had the Wonder of the Seas departed from Miami on Monday, September 15th. And they had to turn around and go back to Miami because there was a brawl next to the kids' pool. And there was a couple of people who were injured. So I think that's also insane because that's not generally Royal Caribbean MO. But yeah. So those were, Royal Caribbean had a heck of a 2 weeks. Then MSC, so they didn't have, theirs was pretty calm too. It was really, Royal Caribbean kind of had some crazy stuff this week, but that was about it. And then MSC, so they were pretty calm. So the MSC Cruises has unveiled new sailings for the 26-27 season in the Caribbean with plans to have a total of 7 ships operating in the region with home ports from Miami, Port Canaveral, Galveston, and now Seattle. So that's a new one. They generally don't go out of Seattle, but that's going to be Alaskan cruises and stuff, and I think that's pretty great. And then their big news for past 2 weeks was the Meraviglia, which has been homeported in Brooklyn, New York, will be leaving in the fall of 2026 to move to the new homeport of Miami. It's really coming back to Miami. But this decision was due to a number of factors, including high traffic congestion and the difficulty of reaching the cruise terminal in Brooklyn. So a lot of people are really upset because they want to sail out of New York, but it's not an easy port to get to. So at least not for passengers. And finally, our tip for the week, so this is a really big one, is know your ship's time. So cruise ships often operate on ship's time, which may differ from your local port of call. So if you leave out of Miami and you go to Cozumel, Mexico, they are an hour behind. So you'll want to keep your phone and your watch set to ship's clock to avoid being left behind. That is really important because if you think that you are on time and you are not, they will leave you. So that wraps up this week's voyage through the headlines. Whether you are counting down to your next embarkation or just dreaming of distant shores, I hope that this report kept your compass steady and your curiosity afloat. So remember, the ocean's always changing, but here at the Weekly Helm Report, we'll keep you charted through every twist, tide, and tropical turn. Until next time, friends, calm seas and clear skies.